Hey everyone. So today we're going to be looking at what will be your profession and your job in this lifetime. And more importantly, we're going to be looking at what will be the type of field that you'll be working in. What will be around you while you're working? Are you going to be working more with tools? Are you going to be managing people? Are you going to be teaching people or leading people? Will your job be something that involves manual labor, more hands-on activities, or will it be something that is working at a desk, like computer jobs, for example, or accounting, right? So we're going to be able to see the general field of your job from this. And we're going to be doing this using the D10 chart, which is one of my absolute favorite charts to use. And this chart is the most accurate when it comes in terms of career here. The D10 chart gives so many details, and it would astound you how detailed and how precise and how accurate this D10 chart is with your chart and your career, right? Now, the only thing is to use this D10 chart, you should have a relatively accurate time of birth because a lot of these divisional charts require a more precise timing. So, yeah. So, this D10 chart, I use it in all my readings all the time, and it gives phenomenal results. So, if you are curious in determining what your career should be, check out our link down below for consultations. And if you want to figure out what career you should be doing, as long as the field and the exact job and um, all the details of your work, you can check out the link for a consultation. And all of our consultations are currently on sale. Uh, Almost everything is close to 50% off right now. So yeah, you can check those out and please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. So back to the technique, we're going to be using the D10 chart for this. And more specifically, we're going to be looking at any planet that's placed in the first house of your D10 chart. Now, this technique, this won't give away the entire job. It won't give away every single thing of your career. But because for that, you need to look at all the details and placements of every planet, not just any planets in the first house or anything that's in the first house here. But what this technique will do, any planets in this first house, while it may not give away the exact uh, career in every single detail right away, what it'll do is it'll set the tone for the type of job or profession that you'll be working with. And then once you look at this chart in the Lagna of your D10, then all the other planets and all the other houses will revolve around the essence of this planet. So this planet, anything that sits in this first house, or even the sign in the first house, plays a huge role in determining what your career will be. So yeah, if you're unsure about it, you could leave your combinations of what is found in your Lugna of your D10 chart, because I know there's a lot to this technique here. So we'll go through all the planets in this first house here. So starting with the planet Sun. So if you have Sun in first house of your D10, this is a good combination. I like Sun here. And the reason that this is good is because you know that whatever job or career you're doing, you'll be able to rise very high from the in this job. You'll get like a very high post, and you could get these positions such as a manager, CEO, a boss, like these high ranking positions, you could get them very easily with this. So that's the essence of Sun here, is that it gives you these high position jobs, and these positions that have a lot of weight and importance to it. So actually, in whatever job you're doing here, whatever decisions you make has a massive effect on the entire company and everything. So your decisions are actually very important here, right? So that's what happens when the king sits in this first house here. Now, a couple of other things that could, I guess, a couple of other jobs that work here. So let's say Sun sits in Leo in his own sign, then you'll know that there's a very good chance that you'll be working in the government. In the government, or something that has to do with the government. Like if you're not actually in the government with your job, then whatever your job is, there's actually a very strong link with either your company or whatever with the government. So there's a very powerful connection here with those high-end people like prime ministers and government here. Now, for you to actually work in the government, not only do you need Sun in Leo, but Moon should also be well placed. Moon should be either in Leo as well or in Cancer. So you should get some planets in Leo or some planets in fifth house, as well as Moon should be well placed. So these three things should happen. Planets Leo, Cancer, and planets in the fifth house here. Um, this is what you need for to work in government as well. Saturn should also be connected with either this in Leo or in fifth house, because Saturn is the Kataka for your job. So is the significator for your job. So Saturn should also be placed in one of these royal signs of Leo or Cancer, but mostly in Leo for this to happen. Leo or the fifth house for government. Now, a couple of other things here is that if let's say Sun is exalted, so here you know that you'll be doing some type of management role here, or you'll be having this is like nearly guarantees like a very high position job. Like whatever job you're working, now this may not be the government, but whatever job you're working in, you'll be working as a high position person again as a manager, boss, vice president, something like this, but very high ranking in your job and you'll be managing people. I've seen a lot of people who have exalted sun in their D10 and at one point, if not in their actual job, at one point in their life, they were a manager in one of their jobs. Um, Yeah. So let's say if Sun sits with Mars and sits in a fiery sign, let's say sits in Aries here, then you know whatever job you're going to be working at. First of all, you'll be working, you'll have a high position here. But you see, these are both fiery planets in a fiery sign. So it's likely that some aspect of your job has something to do with working with fire itself. There's some type of fire involved here, uh, as well as like starting a new job, because Aries is about starting something new. So starting like a new business or starting in a job where like you'd be working a job that just opened, right? And that has like a new type of idea. But yeah, something like this. Also know that you're going to be working like this is more of a hands-on type thing. So as soon as Mars has this connection, you're going to be working more hands-on with this type of job. Uh, so yeah, so fire is connected here. Also, I've seen people that work with any jobs that have to like involve lights here. So Sun, this happens when Sun is either exalted or in Leo. Uh, you'll see that I've seen people who work in places that, again, either deal with fire or light, like in a what is that type of thing? Like those LED light stores and those type of things. So yeah, um, that actually also like to work at an LED place, there has to be Rahu here because Rahu is alternate forms of light rather than um sunlight. So Rahu here gives LED works. you'll see, whoa, you'll see as well that for this type of job, there could also be something like health. So health could be involved if Sun is exalted here, or if Sun is in Virgo. So if Sun is in either uh, Aries or Virgo, there is a possibility of working with something health related, something health and medicine. You see, because Sun represents your immune system and working with immunity. So, and actually, if Sun is weak in your chart, it also shows that you get sick easily. So, Sun does represent your immunity here. So, when in Virgo or in Aries, it's possible to work in health, though you need, for this connection to happen or this job to happen, you need planets in the sixth house as well. Sixth, 11th, and 12th house, for it to be medicine related. Um, yeah, because you see, if Sun is just alone in Virgo here, this could be working with medicines. This could also be working like a hands-on type of job, like having your own business where you do like repairs or uh, you lead a team to do activities. Activities are like construction type things, right? So for medicine to happen, you need sixth house, 11th, and 12th house connections as well. Um, so yeah, if Sun is connected with Moon and Venus, for example, and let's say is in the sign of Taurus or is in Leo, Leo here. I've seen this connection. It actually makes photographers. So here, these type of people would have an interest in photography. But you see, if this is in Virgo, or actually if you find this exact combination in sixth house, uh, then you would see like this makes eye doctors. This also happens if in Taurus, or if you find this in second house, that makes eye doctors. Yeah. And one more thing, if Mars aspects this, and let's say this is in Cancer, this could potentially, like any connection with Mars and Cancer here, or fourth house, like fourth house or fourth lord, then this could also make agriculturists or like farmers here if Sun is connected, because Sun represents crops as well. So yeah. You see, if Sun is in, let's say, the money signs like Aquarius or Taurus, then know that you're going to be dealing with government-related money. So this could be working at banks or anything, any type of job that involves an exchange of money with the government here. So yeah, that happens if in Taurus or Aquarius. Yeah, so that's Sun. So let's move on to Moon. So Moon, Moon's also very interesting. It gives a lot of different things. So Moon here, the essence is think about anything that's like very motherly and that deals with water. These two things could happen very easily here. Um, so yeah. So think about things I've seen, I've seen people where Moon is in Cancer and there was a connection with fourth house as well that happened here. And what this person did was they worked in rice fields. And you see, rice fields is there because rice fields is filled with water. Like to get what they did was they did irrigation of like rice fields to get like the water in there. So they did that. You see, another thing, if Moon is in water signs, it's also possible to work at the sea or with the water itself, because you have a double water connection, Moon, water planet, and water signs. So something like this, I've seen people who, like fishermen, people who catch fish, people who ride boats, for example, or do something with boats. And you see, I've seen another connection when somebody actually had Moon in Pisces. It wasn't in first house per se, but what it was, they didn't work directly in the water, but what they did, they worked in a museum, and in the museum, their like museum is like shows a lot about history. And in their museum, because their city is surrounded by water, a lot of their history had to do with fishermen or people arriving by boats on the coast and things like this. So I remember I had asked them, I said, is there some type of connection with like fish around with your job, fish or boats that are connected? And they said, yeah, they said that the wallpaper in this museum is very much dealing uh, with fish and water, and there's boats like right outside of their place of work. So that's what happens when moon is like in water signs. There's definitely some type of connection with water happening. Now, another thing, so moon also represents food. So if moon is exalted here, there's a good chance of working with food itself. For example, being a baker, working at a restaurant, just working with food in general could happen here. Though for this to happen, you need connections with the second house as well. Like the second house should be connected to this first house or should be connected with uh 10th house as well. To work in a restaurant, you also need some type of connection with Mars. So like Mars either sits with Moon or aspects Moon one way or another. Like here, Mars aspects Moon here. So you see, Mars also gives like working with food and restaurants because to work in a restaurant, if you've ever seen uh like Gordon Ramsay shows, have you seen how disciplined these people are? They like look at how they respond. They always say yes, chef. This is how people respond to people in the army. They always say sir, yes, sir, right? In the army. So actually, people who work in the kitchen respond in a very similar way. And the people in the kitchen are working with knives and tools. The only planet that works with tools is Mars. So to work in a kitchen or in something related with food, then Mars has to be connected with Moon here, and there has to be a connection with Taurus and second house to work with food. Um, so yeah. Let's say if Moon is still in Taurus, the other thing this could represent is also working with money. Now, for money to like working with money, for this to happen, you also need some connections with the second house and 11th house, right? So this is a bit where it deviates from uh, working in a restaurant, working with food, because the 11th house is also involved in this combination, right? So there has to be some connections between all three here, or you need to have some planets in the second and 11th house to be working with money. And you see, money, when Moon is in the sign of Taurus, then this is working a bit more with liquid cash. So, uh, like you're actually holding the dollar bills, for example, in like an actual real sheet of paper, like an actual bill. So yeah. So when you see when Moon is here as well, um, let's say if Moon sits in Cancer, I've seen people here who work with what's it called? With kids. You see, because Moon is the motherly planet and Cancer is also associated with the mother. So I've seen people who like there's a very motherly connection here. So I see people who work in like kindergartens or work directly with like really young kids and like toddlers. Um, and I've also seen people here, if there's some connection with second house as well, I've seen these people also work, they could also work with milk or dairy or like dairy farms. I've seen that happen. Um, so yeah. Um, you see, when Moon is debilitated, and there's some connection, or if there's some connection with the eighth house, I've seen a lot of these people work in psychology, which is very interesting. I actually have a pretty close friend uh, who they had moon debilitated also in the eighth house in their D10 chart, and they're a full psychologist or psychiatrist. I think it's a psychologist. I actually don't know. It's one of it's one of those two. Uh, I don't know that. Should probably ask my friend what they do. But it's one of those two. Um, but yeah, but you see, there also needs to be the aspect of K2 here. To work in psychology, any one of those fields that deal with like working with the mind, any of those Freudian like theories and those type of things, you need K2 to aspects. You see, so something like this needs to happen, or K2 is actually sitting with Moon, right? Because this involves investigating the mind. So yeah, I've seen psychologists work here. And so Jupiter should also be well placed for that because if you, let's say if you're going to do like counseling with that type of stuff, like what is that word like therapy, that type of stuff, you need Jupiter to also be well placed either in ninth house or aspecting first house or in Sagittarius for that to happen. Um, so yeah. If Moon is, let's say in Virgo or there's some connection with the sixth house, then you see these people tend to work with herbs and medicines a lot, especially like liquid medicines. Like this, they make like tonics and like liquid like drinks like that as well. This also makes like modern day what do you call those guys? Those guys who work at pharmacies. Yeah, I guess like those people who make like pharmaceuticals, those type of thing. They have some type of connection with Moon and Virgo, or connections with the sixth house to do that. So yeah, that's Moon. So let's move on to Mars. So you see, when Mars falls here, this job is actually much more connected with physical hands-on work. Like it is very likely that you're going to be doing something hands-on or where you're not sitting down all day. Like you're actually going to be doing work. So with Mars here, let's say if Mars is in Aries, then this gives a job where you're working very much with health and working with like you're working directly with people here and you're trying to improve a person's body or the person's personality one way or another. Like you're making them improve themselves as a person one way or another. So that could be this. I've seen actually the combination when Jupiter sits with Mars or aspects this Mars. I've seen these people become personal trainers or people who teach some type of physical activity, such as, if not personal trainers, then it's a similar combination, such as like karate teachers or like swimming instructors. Though for swimming instructors, water signs should be connected or moon should be connected. Um, Yeah, I've seen people who teach some type of physical thing. Like this could even make yoga teachers as well. Again, Jupiter has to be connected with that. Um, you see, if Mars and Saturn are connected, or if Mars is in Capricorn, immediately know this is 100%. They do hands-on work, and they're if you see this, know that you're extremely skilled with tools and working hands-on things, like working with machines, tools, things like welding or even metals. But there's some type of hands-on work here that this person is going to be doing. This also is a combination for engineers as well. This is a bit more of a like hands-on type of engineer, or the engineers that work um, like this is not computer engineers. These are hands-on engineers. I think that's what civil engineers do. Um, but these are very much more hands-on oriented. Um, so yeah, if so, let's say if Mars is in fiery signs, so either 1, 5, or 9, I've seen that these people work with fire related items, and there's some type of fire there. So let's say if Saturn Mars is here, let's say in Aries. That is a good example. So something like this, then I've seen these people, the fire that they're working with is actually like welding, for example, right? So you see like how the fire is working there, and it's a physical hands-on type of thing. Right? So if it's, let's say in a fiery sign, but it's connected with moon, I've seen these people do like baking a lot because see, moon is food and Mars is using tools to make the food, but now the fire sign is there. So this is a lot more cooked food, and this could even be working with fire itself, like using like a, let's say if you work at a pizza place, then you're actually using like a pizza oven with real fire. Um, so yeah, fire is involved here. And actually, speaking of which, if there is some type of Moon and Mars connection, especially if in Taurus or some connection with the second house, these people will be working with food in restaurants as chefs here. So yeah, um, you see, another interesting thing, I've actually seen something like this. Let's say if Saturn, Mars, or let's say if Saturn's even not connected. I've actually seen these type of people working with what is it? Like they're still doing a technical part because Mars is a very technical planet. Uh, but I've seen a person who is an engineer of boats. Like they engineer ships and boats that are meant to go across the ocean here, right? So yeah, that's where that goes. If Mars is with Sun, and either in 1, 5, or 9, mostly 1 or 5, not as much this. So either 1 or 5, I've seen these people could also end up in the military as well. Military or end up as soldiers, but and there's some type of war connection. This actually also happens in Virgo here. So yeah, some type of connection between 1, 5, and 6 makes like warriors, as well as the eighth house, makes like soldiers. If Rahu is involved, then know that these people could be working with, they could be working with some electrical devices. Um, and actually, let's say if this is either in Capricorn or if Saturn sits here, then these people are doing construction work. Like they do construction, they build things. Yeah. So if there's Rahu, Saturn, Mars connection, then it's construction work that they're doing. So yeah, that's what you see here. Something else. If you actually see Saturn, Mars in any Venus signs or Venus is actually connected, these could also make barbers as well. If connected with Mercury and in Virgo signs, then this also makes surgeons. Saturn has to aspect, or there needs to be some type of connection with the sixth house to be a surgeon here. So yeah, these Mars jobs are always hands-on type of work and working with some type of tool. Something will be in your hands, one way or another. So yeah, so that's Mars. Let's go on to Mercury. These type of jobs are connected with um, a lot of book work is connected here. These typically are not hands-on type of work. A lot of this is working with your mind. So let's say if this is in Gemini, then working with books or papers or documents. Any one of these things you'll be working with. So I've seen a lot of receptionists who have like this type of combination, like some type of Mercury and Gemini combination or Mercury in third house. I've seen a lot of receptionists or people who like fill out forms, that type of stuff. I see it with Mercury and Gemini in third house. Let's say if Mercury is in Aquarius or is in Taurus, these people tend to work with money, and this is more of a business combination. Any type of Rahu Mercury uh, generally leads to like some type of business work, but here this is dealing with money. So I've seen these people go into things like investing or things with stock markets. Like they will deal with some type of stock market with uh Mercury 11th or Mercury 11th house connection, like 11th Lord connected and second Lord connected here. You see, when Mercury goes into uh, Libra here, these people tend to be very business oriented. So anything 3, 7, 11 connected, like the signs, then you know that these people will be working very much in a business type of situation, or something in their business deals with sales. There has to be other supporting things as well with this, but generally that's the idea. So I've seen a lot of people with this where they work in like some type of marketplace or they're selling something, but they work with other people here, like they socialize with others. So yeah. You see, when Mercury, I've seen this a lot. When Mercury's in Saturn signs, then they work with because you see, this is a combination of Mercury, which is like written down things, and Saturn, which is the sign here, Capricorn Saturn signs, um, represents um, history and like old things. So actually, what it is, this can make accountants because this is a history or a list of old transactions, Mercury's transactions that's happened. So this makes accountants also as well as Saturn, Mercury are actually connected. Then these people deal with old or past uh, transactions or look at the history that has gone on in the company, for example. So this is very possible to make accountants. There also needs to be planets in sixth house and 10th house for this to happen. Um, and you see, if Mercury is actually with Rahu, then this makes what's the word for it? People who work with computers, that's what it is, IT, those type of things. There's some type of Mercury Rahu combination, or Mercury's in Aquarius, 11th house, or third house. To work in IT, you need some like Rahu aspects Mercury, or Rahu sits in Gemini or third house. Something like this needs to happen for IT, and there needs to be connections between 3, 7, 11 to work in IT. But very prominently, you'll see if ever you see Rahu Mercury, tell them that there's some type of computer work involved with whatever they're doing. So yeah, you'll see that if let's say if Mercury's in Gemini or the third lord is connected, so either one, I guess, then these people could be writers, people who write books. And if there's some type of connection with the 12th house, let's say like in Pisces, then there's some type of work. The writing could be connected to like fantasy type of things. These are very creative people. Mercury, a debilitated Mercury makes extremely creative people. People who like use their brain power and their thinking to solve and do all their work. And actually, you want to know like an interesting combination of Mercury's with Mars. or sits in Aries, one of the two. I've actually seen this makes comedians. And the reason for this is because comedians, they're very quick. Like when you think of comedians, they think of jokes and comebacks extremely quickly. And to be so fast on your toes, you need Mercury connected with Mars because Mars gives Mercury that speed to come up with this. And actually, this is also why you see a lot of comedians who make a lot of harsh jokes because Mercury's jokes, but Mars he doesn't really care about people's feelings as much. So this is where this is why a lot of comedians will say a lot of hurtful things or a lot of like they'll roast people. Things like that is what you'll see. That's the Mars effect that comes here. So yeah. You see, Mercury is also involved. Let's say if Mercury is exalted, then you know there's going to be a lot of calculations involved in their work. Calculations and this is very much working like with books and also spreadsheets are connected to this. So some type of spreadsheet or a big collection of data is somewhere involved with this work. Yeah, but this is very much like using logic and using numbers to solve your problems when doing this. So yeah, that's Mercury. Let's go on to Venus. So Venus type of work, this is all related to beauty products. Beauty, so you'll see that, especially if Venus is actually in Taurus, then you know that these people are going to be working something beauty related or something that has to do with the face, anything on the face. So this could be like makeup. This also makes like, for example, people who work with glasses or deal with eyesight, because Venus is the significator of your eyes. Sun and Moon represent your left and right eye, respectively, but Venus represents like your eyesight and vision and the quality of your eyes. So Venus and Taurus also deals with eyes, glasses. Um, Eye doctors can also be connected with this. If Venus is in second house, for example, you also need planets in Taurus and planets second house and sixth house to make eye doctors. Actually, I do know somebody who does have that type of connection. Uh, Venus is in second house, not in Taurus. So for them, Venus is in second house and is with Mars, and they're an eye doctor. And sixth house is also connected with their combination. So yeah, so beauty products are related here. Good quality things. Like you'll be working with good, high quality, high demand things. You know, the people who work in like shopping malls or or any place where there's like sales going on, then Venus has a very important role. Venus is either sitting in second house in Taurus or 3711. There's some type of connection there that is leading to like a salesperson who's working in a grocery store. Um, So yeah, you'll also see that let's say if Venus is sitting in Aquarius or sits in 11th house or second house, then like if there's the money houses connected, you'll see that these people deal with money itself. Like these people will do transactions revolving or like involving money and yeah, purchases, for example, are dealt with this. They also do a little bit of advising as well. They advise people how they should, because Venus is Shukra, who's also a teacher and is a guru planet. So they also advise you how to spend your money here. But yeah, Venus in second or 11th house or any connection makes dealing with money. I also forgot to mention, if here, then they also deal with like perfumes, makeup, eyeliner. Something with the eyes is very much connected, as well as some type of second house involvement, then yeah. These people also deal with like very luxurious things in their work. So I've seen people who deal with like silk or high quality things. Again, people who work at like very fancy shopping malls. Just know if you go to a shopping mall and see any employee there, it's because they have Venus that's either connected with Lagna in their D10, or Venus is connected with either Taurus or Libra. One of these two is is happening in their D10 chart, or else they wouldn't be working at a fancy mall. Venus has to play that important role. Um, you'll also see, something interesting. I've seen that you see, Venus is also about decorations. So I've seen people who, let's say Venus and Mars, and you could also use this combination of the D1. I've seen whenever Venus and Mars are connected, these people really love home decor or home decorations and making their house look very nice. So I've seen people like if this isn't an artistic sign, like two or Taurus or Gemini, I've seen these people or Pisces. Pisces is massive here. I've seen these people like do interior painting and interior they're an interior decorator. I've seen that combination happen before. So that's a very interesting one. And do like painting. You see, because Venus is the only planet that brings paint. So any type of paint and art or arts is involved here. And actually, speaking of arts as well, if Venus and Mercury are connected and or they're in like Mercury signs, know that this person is going to be a musician. There also needs to be some type of connection with the third house itself and 12th house. Like there needs to be some planets in third house and in Pisces or 12th house to make musicians. And moon should also be connected with one of these three houses. So yeah. So that makes artists, it also makes musicians as well. If Venus is in either Gemini or in Pisces, it makes artists, musicians, people who do artistic and creative work. Uh, I've seen that. So I've seen that. Let's say Venus is in Cancer and there's also planets in fourth house, then these people are also connected with vehicles, like some type of car and uh, these type of things, like selling vehicles. Mercury has to be connected with that, um, and those type of things. So yeah, that's the essence of Venus. That it's a very luxurious, and there's a lot of creativity and beauty and um, artistic work that's involved with a lot of Venus's jobs here. Um, okay, so moving on to Jupiter. You see, Jupiter in this first house, Jupiter is all about happiness and teaching because Jupiter is the true guru, is a guru teacher type of figure. So a lot of work, and Jupiter is also connected with like religiousness as well. So a lot of the jobs that involve Jupiter and Lagna revolve around uh, either some form of righteousness or teaching and those type of things. So, for example, let's say if Jupiter is in Leo, or let's say fifth house is connected, you'll see these people can make teachers or professors. When this also happens with ninth house connections as well. You see, if Jupiter is in Sagittarius itself, this can make one or two things. This can make teachers, counselors, um, and religious people. And there needs to be planets in the ninth house as well. There needs to be planets here to make a religious person. So this could be like the planet Sun or Sun, Venus, but not as much. I wouldn't put Venus as strongly here. Sun and Moon, because these planets follow religion very strongly, along with Jupiter. So you'll need to see that with ninth house to make like religious people like saint what is it? Like priests, pundits, those type of people, like pastors, people who work at churches, or people who have a very strong connection with churches, either have Jupiter in Sagittarius, Jupiter in ninth house, or planets in ninth house in Sagittarius, like planets in 159 makes people work in like religious type of associations. And there should be planets with Jupiter as well. Like for example, if they're like teaching or learning at a religious institute, then Mercury should also be connected here for them to learn or teach about religious affairs. So yeah, and you know something interesting, when I see Jupiter connected with Mars, you see, or like this also happens in Aries. I've seen these people, they teach, but they teach something more physical related. I've seen people who are like karate teachers or like, basketball coaches, like sports coaches. Uh, I think, yeah, karate coaches, martial art coaches. I've also seen personal trainers. You see, when this is also very much connected to sixth and eighth house as well, like there's some type of connections here, then when it makes connections with the army, what it is that these people become like army counselors or like what is it like the people who devises like strategies, they're also connected there. So yeah, you'll see when Jupiter's in like money signs, let's say in Aquarius or Taurus, and or like Jupiter's the Lord, like let's say here, if Jupiter's the Lord of here and here and sits like in Aquarius, I've seen here where these people they deal with money and income, but it's connected to the government here because you see, Jupiter's the guru for the king, like for Surya and um, all the other deities there, the devas. So you'll see that the connection with money and the government is taxes. So I've seen a lot of people interested in things like taxes, or they do counseling with money. So financial advisors are also given here. So that's if Jupiter's connected with with the money signs and money houses. You know something else? Whenever Jupiter's connected with ninth house, so let's say if Jupiter's the Lord here and sits in Lagna, or Jupiter itself sits in ninth house, or there are a lot of planets in Sagittarius. I've seen this also makes banking, like people who work at banks. You'll see that there's a very prominent Jupiter in their chart, and some type of Jupiter, like Jupiter itself, will be connected with some type of money, like either 2 or 11. Here, Jupiter sits in Taurus, Aquarius, or second house, 11th house. And then a lot of planets are also sitting in the ninth house. Then it makes like bankers here, and which also gives financial advisors as well. So yeah, you'll see those. Um, and yeah, you'll see here's something interesting. If Jupiter and Ketu are connected and either Pisces or Scorpio, just know this person is destined to be a saint or an extremely religious person, or so like there's a very powerful connection between like religious and spirituality with this person. And this person will be extremely talented and very strong with spiritual topics. And let's say as well, if Saturn is also connected, this person is going to be a saint. This person's going to like give up all worldly matters and just be a saint and do meditation and those type of things. So yeah. So yeah, any type of Jupiter connection here like gives rise to like teaching. And you can see like teaching with different things based on the signs here. Let's say if like in Gemini and Mercury and Saturn are connected, then this makes like an accounting teacher. Um, yeah. Okay, so that's Jupiter. Let's go into Saturn. So Saturn here, this makes hands-on works. Like Saturn is not the planet that works with his mind. They work with their body and they do like manual labor. So they work hands-on. And a lot of the work that they do mostly doesn't involve like using logic with their work. They do a lot of repetitive work for their job. Now, again, it does depend on whatever planet's aspect or conjunct with Saturn and the sign. But you see, Saturn in, let's say, Virgo or in Capricorn, one of these two signs here, you'll see that these people will do like cleaning work. Like they could be a maid or a servant, or these people will do some involvement with like some service. Like they're there to serve people, and there are a lot of jobs that are like services. Like you shouldn't look down on these people, but there are a lot of service related jobs. For example, like waiters at a restaurant, they're providing a service. Actually, Saturn, Mars, and if there's some type of Venus, let's say in Capricorn, then Capricorn or Taurus, you see that this makes barbers. You see, because they're providing a service and you have to tip them. And it's the same thing even with like waiters and delivery people, like people who deliver food. Like there's like a Saturn Moon conjunction here and some type of connection with the sixth house. And these people will be like food delivery people. And you see again where they tip you. So any job that involves like tipping and like where like someone's providing a service and you have to tip them, this is all like Saturn. Like Saturn is very prominent in your chart, either in Lagna in 10th house or in 6th house in these type of jobs. You see, when Saturn and Mars are conjunct, then definitely it's a full-on hands-on type of job here. And these people will work with tools here. Most likely, this will be like construction if like in a Saturn sign in Scorpio, or if sitting with Rahu, then they'll be doing construction. Some type of construction or like building type of thing. Let's say if this also sits in Cancer, then you know that this person is going to be doing like masonry, like what is it, like putting bricks to like form a house. They could be doing this type of work because Saturn Mars Rahu is always construction, and the sign tells you what they're constructing. So here, Scorpio, they're using materials that come from under the ground, such as metals. Like working, like they're doing construction with metals in this case. Um, and yeah, let's say if it's in Pisces, then something regarding like boats or dealing with water. So yeah, Saturn's a very like hands-on type of planet that's working. Um, Again, with the sixth house or 10th house here, or Virgo and Capricorn, this could also make like janitors and servants, those type of people. But it's a very hard job that they're going to be working, very hands-on work, and very repetitive work that they're going to be doing. Um, you see, the only way that Saturn starts working more with his mind is if Mercury or Jupiter sit with him. So if Mercury sits with Jupiter or Mercury sits with Saturn, let's say either in Virgo or in Gemini, this makes accountants. So these people, if not accountants, then it also makes people who work with like deal with old paperwork or old records and like past transactions. So if not directly accountants, then they'll be doing similar type of work in there. Um, and let's say if Jupiter's sitting here, then this could potentially be like a history teacher, because again, Saturn represents old things. Um, There has to be some type of ninth house or fifth house connection for this to happen to be a teacher, like a history teacher. Um, so yeah, you see, Saturn also represents working um, with metals and things that come under the ground. So let's say if Saturn and Venus are together in Scorpio. See, Scorpio's underground and Venus is beauty related products and Scorpio is like metals. So here they'll deal with rare metals that come from under the ground, such as dealing with gold, diamonds, um, whatever other precious metals come from under the ground, that's what this combination makes here. There also needs to be connection between second house and eighth house for this to happen. Um, yeah. You see some other things as well. If it is connected just with eighth house or like Scorpio, this also makes other things that come from under the ground, such as like gasoline. Like for example, I've seen somebody who has like Saturn, Scorpio in 11th house, and what they do, they own a business with oil, like an oil business and like gasoline, like oil that comes from under the ground, like and petrol, like that type of stuff. Uh, when there's some type of connection between 11th house as well, then it becomes a business with these type of things. So yeah. Um, Yeah, so that's what you'll see with Saturn over here. Very hands-on work and dealing with a lot of old things or dealing with like preservatives, like things that like preserve like wood or food. Like if it preserves food, then it'll be like something like this here. Then they add like preservatives to food, for example. There needs to be other connections, second house connection with this as well, for that to happen. Um, yeah. So that's Saturn. Let's move on to Rahu now. Now, Rahu's very fun because Rahu's jobs are very different than other planets here. So Rahu tends to give unconventional jobs. And so you see, some of these jobs could be dealing with like um, chemicals, with like uh, smokes or mirrors. Uh, oh, you know something that's interesting? I said smoke and mirrors. Is that actually if Rahu's in Gemini or in the third house, there needs to be other connections as well. This actually makes magicians, because you know how magicians they make things just disappear in their hands. That's a Rahu third house or Rahu Gemini type of things, right? Because Rahu is all about illusion, and third house is your hands. So they make illusions with their hands and like card tricks and making coins disappear, making a dove appear out of nowhere in their hands. That's Rahu third house or Gemini combination. Um, you see, working with like chemicals and tobacco, for example, this is like Rahu or Aquarius related. Um, as well as like chemicals that are like really terrible for you. This could also deal with Virgo here. This is you see when this is connected, this also makes like pharmaceuticals, right? Because all the pharmaceutical companies, it's all chemical reactions, right? Like it's not like they're taking plants outside and then just giving it to you like from that. Like they're actually using chemicals uh for it, right? So Rahu in sixth house or Rahu in Virgo makes these type of chemical reactions like that. Um yeah. You see that when connected with the sun here, it makes a leader. It makes somebody who's also in charge of a company, but also know that they give very unconventional advice. And actually, one day these people will have some trouble in turn. Like they'll probably say something that's very, like they'll say something that they probably shouldn't have said, and it would give them some issues with their reputation here. But yeah, this also makes leaders as well, especially if in Leo. Oh, speaking of which, if connected with Sun and Moon, this also gives connections with like working with lights and anything to do with lights, like LEDs, lamps. Uh, if Mars aspects this, then this also makes electricians as well, because you're working electricians who like connect circuits to your lights in your house and do like pot lights and those type of things, chandeliers. Uh, that's when Mars either sits with Rahu and one of these planets, Sun or Moon, here like that, or Mars influences this. So yeah, you see, if if Rahu sits in Scorpio, then know that these people are going to do something very sketchy, and this could be a lot of different things. This could be like occult or tantric based things, um, and I wouldn't. This depends on the rest of the chart as well. But you see, uh, if connected with Mars, this does not make this is a very not good combination. Um, this is if if this is also connected with the eighth house, uh, it makes that this person will have a lot of difficulties in this lifetime. This type of connection here. Uh, but if placed well, and if there's the aspect of Jupiter, or like if there are benefits that support this, then it also makes electricians or people who deal with electricity and any type of power that goes underground, anything like that. Um, so yeah. You see, this Rahu as well is also extremely good with money. So if Rahu is in Taurus or in Aquarius, one of these two, 2 or 11, then know that this person is going to be dealing with money, and most likely they'll be doing a business where they sell money, deal with money, anything like that. Um, this also happens when Rahu is connected with the money houses, 2 and 11. Yeah, I've also seen when Rahu's connected with Moon, let's say in Taurus, I've seen these people deal with like foods that have like a lot of what's the word? Like alcohols in it. Like for example, wines. This also happens in water signs like this. Then they deal with wines. Uh, this is also true if this happens in the second house. They deal with alcoholic type of foods, or they cook with alcohols in their food. Like how people put wines in their like they mix white wine in a pan when they're cooking, that type of thing. Like that's mixing alcohols with food. So some type of combination happens there. Um, so yeah, another interesting thing, if Rahu is also connected with the medicine houses like six, um, and sixth house, sixth lord, and 12th house. Here, something interesting? These people deal with medicines that use poisons to heal. So, right, because Rahu is all about poisons. So, if you're actually thinking about what this could be, think about those people that what are they called? Um, uh anest like anesthesiologists. I think that's how you pronounce it. So those people, they have a very prominent Rahu there because anesthesia is all it's chemicals to like knock you out or to make sure you don't feel pain. That's a Rahu based thing. Um, Again, in the cancer treatments, what is that chemical that they use? Oh, chemotherapy. That type of thing is a very Rahu based thing. So people who administer chemotherapy or those type of things, it's a Rahu based type of doctor. Like if your chart is indicating doctor, but there's a very Rahu based connection, then it's chemotherapy or people that deal with what is X-rays and gamma rays, right? Because this is high forms of radiation, and Rahu is also radiation. Um, so yeah, so that's Rahu, and on to Ketu. So Ketu is the last one, and Ketu. You see, what's interesting, if K2 sits in watery sign, so K2 is all about detachment. So actually something very interesting is that these people will most likely not like to do 9 to 5 jobs. Like jobs with regular hours, they would hate doing. I know a lot of people who have this K2 in Lagna, and they absolutely hate working here because they're working with their mind and it's as if like they can't. Rahu and Ketu both do unorthodox jobs, and orthodox jobs is like working your typical 9 to 5. So Rahu and Ketu hate working those regular hours, but especially Ketu. And these people tend to have breaks in their job as well. Like whatever their first job is, like let's say if they found a career, at some point, let's say 10 years into it, they will probably be like, they've gotten everything out of this job. They don't know why they're still there. Like, they're basically just surviving. And then they would say, like, okay, I need to find something that's fulfilling. And that's what these people do. What they're actually searching for is the job that fulfills their soul. And that's the beauty of K2. It really makes you like realize that like every other planet will work just to survive, work, come home, like sleep, eat, and I don't know, do like some hobby type activity for a little bit and then repeat it again and again every day. But K2 has a higher agenda here and makes you uh really find the purpose in life. And that's why I really appreciate K2 and really love K2 because a lot of people will never find the thing that truly satisfies them, like, and find the job that fully represents them to the highest degree. So that's what K2 will do. It gives you a break in the career so that you could find the thing that you're really meant to do in this lifetime. Uh, so yeah, even if you're one of these people who has K2 here and you get a break, don't think of it as a bad thing. Think of it as you're this much closer to finding your true purpose in this life. Think of it like that and know that you're very close. You're on the verge of finding that thing once you've left your current job. Now, for itself, like what K2 does is, let's say if K2 is in Pisces or in water signs, I've seen these people, this could also be like fishermen, like people who deal with boats and fishing, anything like this, because K2 itself represents like the fish form of Vishnu, the Matsya avatar. Um, so sitting itself in a water sign, it also makes fishermen. And you see, like there needs to be planets in like the 4, 8, 12 houses, like to also deal with like water. And um, moon should be placed in water signs for that. Now you see, this could also make somebody who's extremely spiritual, and like K2 and Pisces. So this could be like a saint. Like this alone is enough to make like a saint who's born on this earth and who's going to discover that they are a saint. Um, you see, if Saturn should also be connected. If Saturn and Ketu are connected, then this makes saints and renunciants, people who renounce the world and uh like go on the saintly path. You'll see that if Ketu is in Scorpio, this is interesting because this makes jobs like that deals with occult. So things like astrology, tarot card reading, um, what is it like tea leaf readings, palmistry, numerology, those type of things. Um, if you happen to have this combination as well, like you should look into these type of things, and you'll see that you'll naturally be interested in these topics. Um, like psychic mediums, those type of things. It also makes psychic people. Actually, if Moon is associated with this person is a psychic person. This is no doubt. I've encountered people. I've actually done readings for people who have psychic abilities and who have a combination like this. Um, and actually, it's even in their family lineage that there are people who are psychic and who are um, like speak to the departed ancestors, that type of thing. So K2 brings really cool type of occult jobs here, and jobs that deal with like mysticism, those type of things. You see, if K2 is also associated with either Scorpio or the eighth house, any type of connection like that, Scorpio or eighth house, uh, or or connected with Mars. You see, this is a really fun combination because this makes like CIA and undercover people, um, FBI, like Secret Service type of things. That's what K2 in Martian science, especially in Scorpio as well. There has to be connections with Mars for this to work though. Um, so yeah, it makes that. Now you see when K2 is connected to the food science and with Moon, for example, or in the second house, then you'll see that they'll deal with food that's very much fermented. So think about things like cheese, blue cheese, or foods that use like microbacteria. So like bread baking, because this uses yeast, right, to make the bread rise. So anything that uses these microbacteria is a K2 based things. You know those people who whoever invented like kombucha or that type of thing, like whatever kombucha company that you could find, they have to have some type of K2 involved with second house or Taurus for this to happen. Um, yeah. So you'll see that these people are also, let's say if they're with like Mercury, then it also makes somebody who is very good with like trigonometry and mathematical calculations. Now, they wouldn't be good at this stuff at the beginning. Like, this needs to happen in Virgo for this to happen. Yeah, but later on, these people would be a lot better with this. And let's say even in terms of like biology, these people would study microbiology. Macrobiology would have some involvements with Rahu, but Ketu gives microbiology. So if you're a scientist and you'll have a prominent K2 that is in your chart here. Like K2 is connected with like the intelligent planets of Mercury or Jupiter to make like a microbiologist here. Or so those people who study cells, who study like bacteria, any of those have a very powerful K2 connection in their D10 chart. K2 is connected with the education houses, like connected with the fifth house or ninth house here as well. Like either fifth or ninth lord are sitting with K2, as well as third lord could also sit with K2, and this makes like microbiologists, for example. So yeah, that is all the planets in the Lagna of your D10. If you have any questions, you can leave your combinations down in the comments below. And if you still want to figure out what career you should be doing, because again, there's no way I covered every type of combination in this video, then you could book a consultation in our website linked down below. Again, everything's on sale, so you're already getting it at a really great price. Um, right? Because those prices are set to increase at some point. Um, so yeah, if you want to know what career you should be taking, you could check out the link in the description. And yeah, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and thank you.